there are different practices or things that taught me the same lesson. The lesson I call like meta skills. But I mean, it was like art in painting. I usually do oil painting. Started with acrylic before moving into oil and marker and stuff. And improvisation, a different art form. And I mean, love and romance and all that stuff is I like maybe the meat and potatoes, but like where I definitely have a lot of resistance. Hey all, I am VictorÄ. I hope provide insight to empower, and I wanted to talk about this feeling that I'm in right now, but that I see is having the most payoff in my life. And that's moving without knowing, or uncovering. Ciphers too, freestyles, rapping, that kind of thing. I don't want to do it right now because I don't want to embarrass myself, but that's part of it. That's totally part of it, and I acknowledge that. Of holding myself back, retaining my presence, out of fear, right? And I want to be specific whenever I mention or bring up any kind of fear with myself, or if I'm, with a client. It's not just, oh, fear is holding me back. Well, let's be specific about what kind of fear we're dealing with here. Fear of what and why, and let's, try to get as many dimensions and perspectives, really the same thing, as we can on this, fear. And so the fear is not being supported or not feeling supported, not feeling seen, not being heard, not being, loved. These four ones are, for me, the most basic ones, and they branch out and play out in all kinds of different ways. But the way I see it is like how it used to be was, I want to see the whole map, not just the road or where I'm going, before I take the first step. And especially like in improvisation, that's a scene killer, because on the one hand, I either go out into a scene and completely, what would happen a lot was I would get blocked up and not be able to speak, or nothing would come to mind because I was so resistive and fearful. And on the other hand, was waiting, even though I felt like, that push or that pull, like go up now, waiting until I had it all played out in my mind, waiting to paint until I could see every single detail. And that's definitely, we can say a trauma pattern or a trauma response. Perfectionism is another word for it, right? Wanting things to be just right before we act or move. And what I've learned is that life, playing being the opposite, the holy grail, it feels like, of healing and recovering from trauma patterns. Playing is a lot, I see it like archaeology, right? I dust something away, it looks like bone, so I kind of follow it and see where it goes, and I don't know where it's going, and I don't know what I'm uncovering, but I'm willing to put judgment aside, especially against myself or how I'm gonna be perceived, and just play with it, just see what comes out. And that's one of the biggest lessons that I've been playing with and experimenting with, practicing, was like my level 4 teacher at the Annoyance, Jimmy Pennington. He would say, You are free to be your least fuckable self. And that to me, like, was just kind of, it took me a while, and I'm like still unpacking it, but it took me a while to get that, right? To see how there are so many ways in which I'm still policing myself. That's driving on the shoulder. There are so many ways in which I'm still policing my thoughts, my behaviors, my emotions, out of fear that, to put it, shortly, it'll trigger abandonment wounds. I just felt something in the air. Man, that fear is fucking crazy. I can feel it right now. I can feel it like coming up. So right now in this moment, I'm just making space for it. And I've learned before to verbalize, walk myself through the process of like, okay, well, this feeling just came on, and there's a split where I'm kind of like walking myself through a triggered moment right now of there being a split between what I wanted to do, which was make a video, hopefully an insightful, helpful video, and what's actually going on. Usually I would self-abandon, which is, try to like scramble, make my way back to making the video, instead of being with what it is that sparked the trigger, or being with that state of being triggered, right? Because how often, I mean, for me personally, I know, but like my parents would, if I was like in an emotional state, they were basically like, get that shit out of here, like don't bother me with that. And that's definitely a behavior that for a long time I modeled with myself. And the way it played out was kind of in a people pleaser way. Like, I want to be there for you because I don't like the way that feels. So even if it's, continuing that cycle of self-abandonment, like, even if I self-abandon, I'm going to be there for you. Even if there's something I need to take care of within myself, I was taught to self-abandon. I was taught that like my mental, emotional, physical needs and wants are a nuisance, essentially. And I don't like the way that feels, so I don't want others to feel that way. So it creates this like paradigm of, and I'm doing it right now, like just moving with it and uncovering, because I don't know where this is going, but like it uncovers a paradigm within myself of like, oh shit, okay, I need to be mindful of my capacity to be there for others and to be there for myself, right? I can only be there for others. I can be there for others even if, there's something within me that's hurting, but that's not the way. I need, and there's that fear of like, the worst thing happening. Like, what if I'm not there for somebody and, they, like the worst for me is like they fucking kill themselves, or like something bad happens, or, they just don't want to be friends anymore. So I need to be there and try to cultivate that relationship, even though maybe, figuratively speaking, I need to put out their fire even though I'm on fire, right? I need to put on their oxygen mask before putting on my own. If you've ever flown, you put on your mask before you put on, your kid's mask or your friend's mask or whatever. It was a strange feeling brought on by like a black SUV driving on the shoulder of the road to like bypass traffic. And I feel like so many times I would be like, okay, well, maybe they've got somewhere to go. Maybe they're, the worst case scenario is happening, and I don't know, they're like the wife's in the back, about to give birth or something. It's like, you know what? Maybe, but what is the actual probability of that? Maybe that's just an impatient person with some level of self-importance that they feel like that, traffic is beneath me. People need to get out of my way, so I'm gonna fucking drive on the road. Maybe they just want to feel some stress hormones, right? Because there's always the risk of what if I pass by a cop? It's annoying. It is so annoying. It's annoying the shit out of me right now, because I've seen that a couple times in the last few days. And I think what's so triggering about that is okay, if you're willing to, in some sense, break the law, if you're willing to do that, then how else does that energy play out in your life? That you're not willing to just be in traffic and just be in traffic, just be. Yeah. I mean, the original point of this was what is it that this sort of flow state of, non-judgment gets me? Or where does it take me? For me, what is the overarching long-term, maybe benefit, something like that, of practicing just flowing, just saying what comes to mind, and feeling the safety of that versus waiting to speak when everything is perfect, or when I have the perfect thing to say. I can show you my notebooks filled with ideas for video and writing out everything that I was channeling, and that video never got made because I wasn't willing to just speak. I wanted to know what the words were that were coming out before I let them come out. But that's definitely, I can see that right now in my mind being a scarcity mindset thing, especially with women. I want to be attractive to women, but that ends up being how that's a scarcity mindset thing is that if I want it to be perfect for this girl, if I want to come off as perfect for that girl, the right one for her, then I'm not being like my most authentic self, and it's a lot of effort. Or how that's like a scarcity mindset thing is like putting a lot of weight into one person instead of like, just going with it and being like, is this gonna work out? I don't know. I'm willing to find out, and if it doesn't work out, that's like the triggering part. If it doesn't work out, trusting the continuity of life, right? Like, it really does feel like life is ending, or has felt, at least for me, like life is ending and there's never going to be another opportunity. But that's where trusting and having, like, practicing trust and faith, that someone else will come along, like something like there are more fish in the sea, but like not just that, but like there are more right fish for you that will come along. Yeah. A lot of the times it's just like I want to like read the script that's playing in my mind like a teleprompter, because right now the words that came into mind, like that's all for now. But that's so weird that like there's a fucking teleprompter in my mind of just the right thing to say, because maybe this video is going too long and I don't want to be an inconvenience and take up too much time and space in someone's life. That shit's wild. That was me reading the teleprompter in my mind. That's so weird. All right, well, yeah, that is it for now. That's all, folks. Peace.